The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Are you ready to take a journey? Let's connect with the healers of the world. It's that time. It's time for the Language of Healing on W4WN Radio and Talk 4 TV. Now here's your host, Dr. Nicole Horton.
Hello, world. Welcome back to the Language of Healing podcast on W4WN.com and all the podcasting platforms. You can catch previous shows and stay tuned on all of the Language of Healing content out there, and what these topics are, what support a more holistic life. So it's being healthy from every angle, not just focusing on physical health or mental health, but also financial health. And that's one aspect we're going to tune into today with a fabulous guest expert, badass businesswoman, Christine Walsh. She's a money strategist and author, speaker, also has her own podcast started, Made for Money, which is really great. I highly recommend. Let's bring her on. We'll give her a little introduction because I'm so happy to have you here because you are just a woman that is on such a strong purpose, mission, and you really have so much wisdom to share. And wisdom to me is not just the theory, but it's the experience and how to apply that into life. And your take on money is, more than that, like numbers and logical. It's like, it's expansive, it's energetic, it's another way to tune in to true wealth and abundance and good life living. So thanks for having us, or having you. Thanks us for having you.
Thank you for thanking me.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to be here. And I know we've had conversations in the past and they've always been so robust and rich, to use a term around finances that mean beyond the numbers, to your point. So I'm glad to be here. So thank you.
Yeah, today we were kind of honing in on the theme around money as an act of self-love, self-care. Because yes, the numbers matter, right? And some strategies and goal setting. And but this is, in this time of year, January, where people are maybe feeling that, the Blue Monday, they say, right? Like, I don't know if it's, I think psychological and societal, these patterns and cycles we go through, it's, maybe, people are feeling that bit of the hit.
Yeah, particularly, this year there's a lot going on. I'm down in the United States, and there's just a lot of collective energy that is easily for anyone, whether they have tools, no tools, all the tools, whatever, to get wrapped up into. And so if there is, there's resolutions, there's Blue Mondays, there's a lot of different things that can happen in Monday. The weather patterns are crazy around the state, and up north as well. And so that's why coming back to this idea around your own health and well-being in all the different aspects, financial included, is such an important aspect when we dig deeper than just the logical part of it, because it's what needs to ground us when times are chaotic. And if we don't have that, then we are running into issues with our own ability to stay grounded in the different areas of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you've said before, like money is a tool, it's a resource. And I think the bigger picture is more the vision that you hold for what you want, what you really want in your life, and matching it all with the values. It's a journey, right?
Oh my goodness.
Definitely a journey.
I often say we're in relationship with money, which is a common approach to this entity, if you will. And it's one of our longest, if not the longest. I mean, we have our relationship with ourselves. We have a relationship with time, which is another currency, and then life's currency, and then we have relationship with money. Like we're using it day in, day out, whether it's the actual dollar bills or the credit card or the debit card, or it is so much a part of our lives. And obviously the recognition of how it can get misconstrued is easily seen. I mean, it's just so infiltrated in such a part of our lives, naturally so. I mean, and at the end of the day, it is a tool. We use it as a means of exchange for one thing to the other. So the question becomes, what are you exchanging this currency for?
Yeah. I was just had the thought of, the planet Venus, how
Yes.
every planet has a characteristic or,
Yes.
real something. And Venus, I think, is the one for, love, abundance, and money, right? Isn't it?
Yes. I think
I think Venus rules
perhaps
that money.
Jupiter, I think,
Jupiter.
is more abundance, and perhaps money. I'm not sure, but the two together have their dance, I'm sure, up in the skies.
It's a big orchestra. We're
Yeah.
just playing a little, what notes are we playing today?
Yeah. I love this idea of as money. And again, I want the invitation for the listeners and the audience members to think about it, not so much like money is like the real thing that goes around the world and exchanges hands and stuff like that, but the essence of money to be a vehicle for our own self-awareness, self-love, because I believe that we are using money as a vehicle to get something to give us a feeling, move us forward in life, some way, shape, or form. It's a means of expression, maybe the clothes we wear, or the kind of food we buy, and so when we start to look at it as a vehicle for our own self-actualization, not to get too deep, but at some level, it really can open up the idea that it's not just, okay, money, it's such a heavy burden, all this stuff, because it is a journey and we're using it every day. So what if we started to look at it from a place of curiosity, as we would any other relationship that we want to cultivate?
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
Cultivation. Yeah. Okay. So where would one start? If you were like, because if money is the mirror, a bit of a mirror reflection, how does one start with the more awareness or?
Yeah. Well, I'll take you through one of my favorite exercises that I do with my clients is we do go through a values assessment. And that really, it sounds a little bit more technical than it is, but anyone can go online, and if you haven't done this, grab just a list of values and principles, just words, and identify your top 10, top 5, top 3, whatever values that you associate or want to associate with money, and your financial well-being and your financial health. And from there, take the time. There's, like I said, there's plenty of exercises online. I'm sure AI can, any of our AI things can help out there too.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a list of it and then picking the ones that resonate with you instead of just like sitting with a blank page and being like, oh,
that's the invitation. And how I think about it, I'm just, my values, I think for the most part, if I think of since I've been doing this work, haven't really changed. And some values are housed in another, perhaps, like an example of fun might have been at a value, I don't know, 6 years ago or something like that for me. And now adventure is, but there's some essence of fun still in that, housed in that. So you can't go right or wrong here. And also don't want to overthink it. You pick your top 5, and then what you do, next step would be, if you were to go down your bank statement or credit card statement, whatever statement you use normally, daily, weekly, whatever, more so than another, where you do most of your transactions to get you through life. If you were to go down and assign, like link the transaction that you to one of your values that you came up with, that you chose, and see where connections are and where connections aren't. And it's quite eye-opening to see, oh, well, I am spending in alignment with my values, or I'm not, or maybe I need more values. In the spirit of awareness, understanding and seeing, oh, these are my values. This is how I spend money, and that connection, because again, we are spending consciously or unconsciously in adherence with some values, whether they're the chosen ones we want or the ones we were given or the ones that are just by default. That's happening. So here's an invitation to get curious and to get maybe even more discerning. And again, it's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of your awareness. And again, I think that gives ourselves the ability to be more trusting of our purchases and more, I think, like purposeful and thoughtful about how we spend money.
There's more intention, focus there.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't have to be every single Amazon purchase or, that little tiny thing that you buy. But, sometimes the bigger ones are a challenge to know, like, do I buy this? Do I not buy this? Well, how does it fit in with your value system? And it may not give you the most direct answer, but may guide you. And I think that's really a neat way to go through your financial life. And I think it's very listening, like it's almost as if we're having this dialogue within ourselves. Again, and just another element of our own self-awareness, self-trust, self-love, to see, why am I buying this thing? Or why am I putting money towards this savings goal or that retirement goal or that charitable organization? Or so that's a great process. I mean, I would imagine, I think of myself, just like recent transactions that gone through my head. I was like, was that in alignment with my values? It was, or not so much that one. I'm still doing the work too. So I'm just here on the, with the flag up front.
Yeah, I think that it's like good to, tune in, make an intentional time to look at that stuff. You know, maybe I worked with someone who suggested like quarterly check-ins with your values, and that brings to mind, okay, what would stop us? Because that sounds so easy and a great exercise, and it would bring so much, awareness. You're on top of your money, where it's, aligned, but it's not always like that, right? We get a little bit off path and just like bound up and spinning with life. So things that might stop us, like fears or, just a total avoidance. Like, what do you experience? How are some ways we can confront those?
Yeah, absolutely. Avoiding pattern, I've done it myself, is a huge piece when it comes to money. I'd rather not know than know. And the knowing requires a deeper why. Like, why am I doing this? So in the terms of moving towards your finances, I'll just put it simply that way, would be an act of understanding your own why you want to do that. So that's important to know. It's not just like, if I was to say, hey, Nicole, you better start budgeting, you're going to be like, yeah, Christine, that sounds great. I can't wait. And be like, never doing that. Like, there has to be a deeper why under that. And we just really, it's in alignment with human behavior. We recognize human behavior. So glitchy things that can get in the way, definitely the ways we've been brought up around money, that can get in the way of us having our own model of what's right or what's wrong, judgment is coming in is the thing that will come in at that point, because we can get really judgy around our money, someone else's money, not having it, having it, where it came from, how we've spent it, how we've made mistakes with it. So that judgment closes the blinders on us to opening up to our own true self around money, which is, an abundant state. So just even, maybe hearing that and knowing, oh my goodness, I do judge my financial transactions, all like I don't even want to look at the bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And if, again, I will share, we're dealing with this thing, unless something else happens and, some other, who knows, and anything can happen these days around money, we're going to be using money for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Some currency you have to, it's like natural. You exchange time, attention,
Exactly. So
yeah,
this isn't
money.
This is a moment to redefine maybe the concept of money and redefine your relationship with it. And that can be daunting because there's so much that gets hooked up into it. And it starts typically in our growing up years, in our family of choice, family of origin, caregivers, religious organizations, whatever. So
yeah, absolutely. Because we learn something and we just kind of keep going with it until maybe it's like there's just something that doesn't work about it anymore. And that's, builds the tension, friction. This is the perfect, I think, time in where we are present day, leaving the energy of the wood snake from, the Chinese calendar, which is all about, the snake energy is all about deep transformation and shedding. And it's a confrontational time. Things are, so all these judgments that we might, be up against or have awareness of, it is a great time energetically, or like we're really supported right now to let those fall. Yeah, because all the past, feelings, thoughts, beliefs that we've, accumulated over the years from, like you say, all those childbearing years where we're like subjective to other influences to create our own. But it's about shedding and then rebirthing into the fire horse, galloping for greatness.
Oh my goodness. It's what a transition too,
Yeah.
I just recently did a podcast on money and holding money, because I think that also can be a thing, is that maybe if we start looking at the money may come in, it may not come in. Again, judgment. But this idea of our bodies being a portal, for lack of a better word, representation maybe, of us being able to hold and steward money. That's a word I often use around money. Again, language, speaking to the language, the name of the show, language of healing, right?
Yeah.
Language is so important. And what if we use different words? So in terms of us directing our money, stewarding our money in a different way, I brought in the idea of using our breath, right? Our breath is with us, again, something that's with us always, ideally, as the inhale and the exhale, mirroring the relationship with money, perhaps. So it's an inhale receiving, exhale giving. Money's a cyclical thing. Well, it's not a linear thing. So we almost, if we see that breath like coming in, inhaling, and then maybe holding, even like I can hold breath, nothing too biggie go blue, but just more so like, and then exhaling, like it goes out, it goes in and it goes out, and that's how money works. And us recognizing that as a collective allows us to be in a softer perspective with it, that when we are getting judged, we're judging money, that pulling in that breath aspect.
Yeah, it's like the image of like hanging on tight, like gripping it, like don't want to let it go, right?
Yeah. So
and how that stops flow.
grew up in a household that was very much about saving and not spending a lot. We didn't have a lot, so there wasn't a lot to be like spending about, but it was more like, oh, you got it, you hold on to it. And what I would notice is up until maybe, I don't even know, 10 years ago, 15, maybe somewhere in there, I was like, I don't think I've even been breathing this whole time up until like not too long ago. Like, and it mimicked, if you will, when I did some reflection around it, around holding, like defending. I grew up in New York City, so you'll hear that through my accent here and there. But I grew up in New York City, so you do get on in a big city, can get on a sort of a defensive, hustle mode. So, but there was an energy of holding, and I was like, I have to exhale. Like, how can I inhale and exhale? And again, this I share this in the spirit of, how do you breathe when it comes to money? Do you take a deep breath, hold, do the work, and then exhale? Like, or is it a calmer in and out? Just as another portal, another way in to accessing money, that we don't necessarily talk about too often. And using the body as a mechanism for holding wealth in different ways, or experiencing wealth and experiencing money in different ways.
Yeah, I love that. I'm all about that, because it is a frequency. We can fine tune certain things. I mean, it's all about flow. Like, pretty much,
absolutely,
it's all the same, whatever resource we're talking about.
Absolutely,
like, it has to breathe. It has to, otherwise the stagnation and stagnation can be caused by so many things, like the internal chatter, the physical environment.
Yes.
Yeah. So it comes back to, how do we ground and center and hold space enough for ourselves, for our money, for our relationships.
Yeah. And it's tough goings out there, this isn't, so it could be activating to look at your money. There's so many resources now that I think can be really helpful. Whether that's through AI or Google, and it can be enough to be dangerous at the same time, but just this idea that there is a different approach to money that isn't so, as you know, Nicole, I pull in this idea that there's a feminine power within all of us that we can access, that actually lends itself to more creativity around money, more ideation, more flow, versus traditionally what has been very structure, and this is the way, and that's not bad. We do need the structure, because if we had no structure, we'd have no flow, because it would be all over the place, spilling out. Mm-hmm. So we need both, but the pendulum swung so far wide to structure, and this is the way it's done, and cut back, and that I hope in the conversation even here is, what would it look like if there was more creativity around money? Meaning, how could I do this differently? This is the way I was taught when I was a kid on how to do money, or how I wasn't taught anything. What might be a way that I can do this? And there's a lot at stake, whether or not we have a lot or a little, if we're attached to that tool and that resource. The first work starts with awareness, and then the second piece is this almost like a reconcilement of what has transpired. And in that awareness and in reconcilement, we can then start to move to more alignment around, these are our values. But there is a little bit of a reckoning in that.
It sounds great and easy. Yeah. I was back to the pendulum, because if we are this, very structured, rigid, like, numbers based, and then I just see the other side, maybe where it's all positive affirmation and kind of like the very creative, where it's not grounded. I think somewhere in the middle is where you even speak to this. You bridge the creativity and with structure, like physical and spirit. Mind.
Well, let me Sherry, appreciate you bringing that up
Powerful
because
antenna then,
maybe we take away the analogy or metaphor, I always forget which one's which, of the pendulum, and we almost think of a three-legged stool of logic, the numbers, these are the numbers, this is the emotion, which we want to appreciate. And then there's a third leg, because the stool doesn't stand on two legs, of an intuitive.
Okay.
And that the intuitive part, that's us trusting ourselves, trusting our vision, trusting our goals, trusting ourselves, whatever, that may bridge the two together. So when I work mainly with women business owners, we go through pricing, or we go through someone's financials, or we're going through, goals, revenue goals, or things like that. And this can be done even in a personal spending plan or something. We look at the numbers. I'm in a place as a support person on a team with someone to say, okay, well, we're going to look at these numbers together. I almost want you to strip out any meaning that they make. It's like, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts.
Yeah.
But we look at the numbers, and then we touch in on the emotional aspect, like what is coming up, like what is good, what's working, what's not working. Like, let's hear that be said and stated. And then somewhere in the middle lines up that intuitive, like, this is the number, like this is what I want, or this, just can feel it in your body. And again, just coming back to this idea of money being a vehicle for our own reflection of how we show up in the world is a beautiful thing. So if anyone's on the personal development path, they can start to apply any of the successes or awarenesses to money, and I think they'll have great success there too.
Yeah, well, that ties it all together. The awareness of it, the reconciliation, and then the alignment.
Yeah.
And
it's easier to move forward when.
Yeah, for sure. When things are in alignment and everyone's on board, right? Like,
yeah.
That's
and
what
that
one of my mentors.
Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick. One of my mentors, Kate Michaels, who taught me emotional wisdom training, and she's all about the core alignment with the, physical, mental, emotional, like conscious, subconscious, unconscious. But she really spoke about the, like, with awareness and acceptance creates an awakening. So it's the same. This concept you can apply in so many areas. Like, you have to see it first, and then find some level like acceptance, forgiveness, some softening about it, because the awareness can be like amazing, or it can be deeply confrontational, painful.
For sure. And then,
so I think that's part of the journey, right? So, and the non-judgment piece, that's important to remember in there, that like, no matter where you're at with it, there's still room to soften and move forward.
And it's one of the things that we kind of forgot when I started this work. I was on my own personal journey with money, and sometimes the money coach needs her own money coach. I didn't know it at the time. That's what actually got me into the work. But I grew up in New York City. My background's finance and accounting and investment banking. Like, I did global investment banking when I worked in Wall Street. And I moved out to Colorado. I did 20 years ago. And my financial, like the books part of me, just kind of went out the window. And so therefore I wasn't really paying attention to my own financials. And I ended up unemployed at one point, losing my home to foreclosure, and really had to then do my own dig deep of, like, it's not just the books, knowledge, logic of money that gets us through. There's another component of it. There's this emotional intelligence piece that started me on this exploration of a different way of looking at money, that it's not just, 2 + 2 = 4. And when I found myself in that place of, like, judging myself, shaming myself, I had to really take a moment to step back and, with a lot of humility and a lot of honesty, and say, there's got to be a better way. And I remember looking around. I do live in a very small town, but so looking around meant here in the small town, but also just generally of, like, who could I talk to about this? And I think that that's one of the things that I'm in the work of at this level, to explore ways that we as communities can come together in different ways, whether that's through a founder community or ecosystem, or through networking groups or something like that, where we can talk more about money, so that we can share places safely, and share in places that are safe about our money stuff, because money stuff breeds in isolation. And traditionally, it's not been polite to talk about money, particularly as a woman. I mean, a lot of this is changing. I think systems have been designed for us to hand our power over around money to someone else or something else. So we have to kind of come back to ourselves and really recognize who we are being with this entity. And again, if it was any other type of relationship, like I want to have a better relationship with my partner, what might I do? And in that, I always offer up the exercise or the practice of writing a letter to money. I don't know if we've ever talked about that, maybe. Yeah, as the softening, if you will, because I find this fascinating. The practice is you write a letter to money, typically hand, pen to paper, just old school.
Spray it with some perfume.
Yeah. And you just lay it out on the table, whatever comes out, like, dear money, blah, 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 signed, Nicole. And then you switch roles and you become money, and you respond to yourself, dear Nicole, blah, 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 whatever. And I have, I use this practice a lot, whether I'm speaking or in a workshop or with clients, and the outcomes are just stunning. Because there's so much that is, speaking of reconciliation, acceptance, typically, and I don't want to inform, where anyone can go with this practice, but there is maybe coming back to a level playing field again.
Yeah, it creates balance just naturally, it bridges like the creative, handwriting it, getting the thoughts, bridging the breath, all aspects, the two sides of money.
Yeah.
So
it's a big topic. There's no doubt about it. And there's lots of different pieces. And I believe in having conversations, especially like this. So thank you again for inviting me and having this platform to speak on this topic is a form of us understanding ourselves better, just as we would with, think of like taking what's those Myers-Briggs or something like that, some of the assessments that are out there.
Or I was even thinking like diet, like the foods we eat, the relationship, because some things really make you feel good and other things make you feel bad. Maybe it's a little, different, but it's finding out more about yourself, like
understanding ourselves. And the more we understand ourselves, the more loving we can be towards ourselves and others. And one point I want to bring up, which, can be another stopping point, is typically we are in working with money with others, whether that's our partner, whether that's parents or children, and so that dynamic brings in another layer, and why it is even more important for us to do our own money work so we know where we stand, so we can have the conversations that may be tough, but we're speaking from our own truth. And so that is, the values exercise, understanding, how we grew up with money and how that's impacted our decision-making over the years, whether for good or for bad or anything in between. So definitely I want to acknowledge that we're not just isolated in a silo with our own, our own money stuff. We then get intertwined with other people's money stuff. And it's very clear in the research and the work that I've done that we need to define our own money system, modeling, ideals. We don't need to put them out on social media or anything, but we just need to have our own congruency with how we operate with money, even in the spirit of curiosity. We may not be like hard and fast, but at least have some knowledge of our own understanding of how we want to operate with money so that we can interact with others.
Yeah, and money, I think, is a great actually grounding point because it is logical and numbered and
Yes.
factual. That
Yes.
and if we're looking at that as also a type of currency tool resource,
Yeah.
it's like a starting point because we don't have the same scale or tangible visual when we talk about our like vitality or
Yes.
the energy or the
Yes.
time we're spending on something like
Yeah.
and that also can deplete
I love
far
that.
beyond and maybe it's harder to pay attention to that kind of stuff but money is a good grounding post and
Yeah.
then it ties in the values and I think it's like yeah really helps flourish. I love this. I love it.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
this new talk. What do you think about or forecasting maybe into this new we're transitioning the new moon, the lunar new year is coming,
Yeah.
entering into like the fire horse. It already sounds, I'm imagining like the shedding of the snake and just galloping like
Yeah.
what and when we're talking about coming more into like you have to have some kind of will and strength, like some resolve to really move yourself forward in that way. Like, well, that comes back to the courage piece, right?
Yeah.
Humility, honesty, now what? Courage to
Yeah.
move forward.
Right. Isn't I don't know who said this definition, but courage is fear walking.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's fear walking forward, some way, shape, or form, right? So
Yeah.
money can create lots of fears, or it instills fear, or however you want to say it. It's related. It can be. Courage is that salve, perhaps, and ways that we cultivate courage could be under knowing ourselves better and knowing our why. Again, when it comes to money, like why you don't have to. I mean, you can live in the ways that you do, whatever ways that are out in the world to operate with money at the level you want to. And if you're curious around a better relationship with it, knowing your why around that is
huge
because
motivator.
That's going to be the touchstone. You're
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do my, look at my bank account. Well, let me take out my little notepad where I wrote down why I was doing this in the first place,
Yes.
And to your point about and I'm just hearing this from you, it's a supportive time to be looking at this bigger
Yeah,
piece
absolutely.
because it's got momentum behind it, it's whether it's your shedding or what letting go, and then this sort of unbridled movement forward. And how do you want to move forward and design that? Yeah.
Well, if someone is moved to contact you and work with you in this great space that you hold for people around their relationship with money, how can we do so? Website, podcast.
Yeah. My website's rebelrisefinance.com.
Yeah.
So that's REB. I feel that anyone's working with money at the level that is curious around it, and the work that I do it has a little bit of rebel in them. So that the name of the business is the website is rebelrisefinance.com.
Oops, chat.
And then, I started a podcast in November called Made for Money. And it really, it's me speaking in my nasal New Yorker voice.
I love it. It's so soothing. Your voice is so like it just carries you into this journey.
And Made for Money, and that's been really, really fun to be creating. It's just me for now. I hope to have guests in one way or another, but I felt that I wanted to share some philosophies on how I approach money from a holistic point of view, using all three legs, the logic, the emotional, and the intuitive. And probably a fourth leg of a spiritual for women founders in business, but also I've heard many people say they enjoy it just from if they're in a, working for a company or something like that. Just helps open up. And again, this is my goal, is to open up the conversation amongst women around money.
What's important to you about that?
It's because I feel that starts to shift our world and change our world in different ways. And our world could be in our family, in our household. It could be in our local community. It could be out in different ways that we are impacting different organizations. Like money is, there are statistics about how much money is going to start to flow into women's hands from generational movement, with older generations leaving and stuff like that, and women holding on to money. We as a collective need to know and understand how we're operating with money so that we can actually steward it in ways that impact our worlds, again, locally, family wise, globally. And I think that that's pretty powerful. Systemically, we are not, we have a lot against us, but internally and like powerfully, like electric, like I plug into the electricity on the side in the socket, where it's undeniable what can happen. Wow. And I get excited about that.
I know. I see you light up like that plug, right? Because it's like holding that vision or that, because it is possible, right? And
it changes things. Money in women's hands change things. Because we're doing this work, because you're doing this work. And that's not just, I just think people who are conscious and stewards of money it may not be in my lifetime. I don't know. I hope to see that. And I just remember me being on my own in my own money misery, perfect storm, and being like, I don't have anyone else to talk to about this. And I don't want that. I want this to be an open topic. Safe, trusted, but open.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I can definitely relate to that. And I imagine many others as well. So thank you for getting out there and doing the work that you're doing and putting it together and creating a bit of fun and adventure around it, because that's what I feel from you too. It's like, the adventure of being curious.
Yeah.
And just like really, knowing your stuff and where you stand, what you want, why you want it, all of those really important factors that truly make a difference, in a conscious living life.
Yeah, and alignment brings us financial success faster than time.
So 100%. Yeah, same with the body, health, healing. Like it can be easier. Well, it is easier when all the pieces are on the same page.
So even that like inkling of like, what's alignment for me? What does that mean? Just even the curiosity, it moves us towards that, the definition of financial success for, whatever that means for anyone.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, any other practices or last minute thoughts we haven't talked about that might be important for us moving forward? I will definitely take away this idea about like the language of being a steward of money. That really lands for me because, you're guided, you're the leader, like leader of your own life.
And it loves to be told, I'll leave it with this. It loves to be told what to do. It's like an obeying dog.
Yeah.
Money,
give it some work, give it a project.
Give it a project. Tell it what to do, tell you where it needs to be, just it is a tool and it can be used for good or bad, just like a hammer is a tool.
Yeah.
So how are we using it? And that's your choice. Again, it's my choice, and it's not happening perfectly, but us being present to it is the movement forward.
Yeah, absolutely. The awareness of it. So that exercise is good. That you first mentioned, the values, print out a list of values, search them all up. and compare, I guess,
Yeah.
with your bank statements.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of
I'm
fun.
always one with like light a candle, put some
Yeah.
music
Make a little
on,
ceremony about it.
like set yourself up to win around this, like
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. It's a little bit of a ritual, perhaps ceremony for
Yeah.
sure. And,
Well,
it's
it's sacred. You're taking a look. It's like it sounds, it is a factual external thing, but it's a lot of inner work as well.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yes.
And you're bringing light to dark if it
Mhm.
has been a dark topic for you. And that that takes courage and that takes support and if that's not the first step, then the first step is just even being in the awareness, like, something doesn't feel right here. I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna, sit with it, journal on it, share with a best friend, someone you trust. Certainly can drop a line to me. I'm happy to be a witness in this work. And one step at a time. Again, alignment moves us faster to financial success than time does. Yeah. It starts to become a little bit more fun that way too.
That definitely. And I think that with some of the heaviness of life, and it's easy to get caught up in like everything, but to spark some sense of fun and joy and like through curiosity is a good way to just bring lightness to it all.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's always easier to climb that mountain when you're light, right? Like having all the extra baggage and weighing you down, and it's like very consumptive, right? So that's like a leak
for sure.
Even leak into your finances
for sure.
And then the money letter, I really like that one too. So it's me writing a letter to money writing a letter to me, again with my little candle and spritz of frankincense and myrrh.
I
under
also,
a full moon.
Right. I love the do find someone that you may be able to share with. I think that's important too. That might be hard to find in your current circles, but there are groups out there to share, or networking, or friends, or people who want to do money differently.
Because we all have a money story, right? Like
we all have a money story, and anyone doing money well is not doing it alone.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point.
So
we can find you at rebelrisefinance.com.
You got it.
Christine Walsh. Yeah. And Instagram. You're kind of on there.
I am on Instagram, Christine Marie Walsh, Marie in the middle.
And the Made for Money podcast. Everyone needs to get on that.
Made for Money podcast. Go check it out. They're 20 minutes weekly. I mean, it's really digestible that you can listen, take away. It's intimate. And I've been getting a lot of great feedback. So I would love anyone to, hop over there and on Apple or Spotify and check that out. Let me know what you need to hear, what needs to be said, what can I talk about?
Yes. Awesome. Thank you for that. Putting that out there. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Keep, good skiing. Pray for good snow.
I live in Northwest Colorado, so if we haven't gotten snow, but it's been a little bit of a rough winter, but I'm just praying, we get the water for the summer, for the spring and the summer to come through for just the health.
And I like that, using the winter time now is, it is a more stillness time if we were in the northern hemisphere where it's like getting dark and it's a hibernation mode. It's a perfect time to be a bit more reflective and, even like looking back to create more. And, well, I hope everyone just reaches out to you because you have so much to share and value. And thanks again for joining us on the language of healing.
You're welcome. It's great to be here.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's another episode is up. Time's up. We'll have to let you go and see you next time. Thanks.
Wow, what a show today. And the journey does not stop here. Come travel the world with Nicole every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time as together we become more fluent in the language of healing on W4WN Radio and Talk4 TV. See you next week.